Akinyi, where we understand self and others, and we have been journeying together on a series on loss and grief. We have been looking at what loss is, what grief is, what happens, and today we are going to be looking at loss and grief in children and adolescents. And children and adolescents go through losses. Loss could be the loss of a person, either a guardian, a parent, a sibling, a family member, a friend. They experience losses, maybe if there's a separation between the parents or a divorce. They experience losses when they basically just lose things that they had, maybe in school, and the child was attached to this particular object. And even when they move schools, even when they move, places of residence, those are some of the losses that children bear. Some even health, because sometimes you find children who are going, who have chronic and terminal illnesses. And other than just the health themselves that they have lost, even the socialization that is what we call normal, there's a sense of loss in that. So children and adolescents go through various kinds of losses. And so with a child at the age of 3, they are not aware of perhaps what loss is. They will, however, note that there is an absence of what they used to have, be it a person or be it this particular thing. By the age of 5, they're trying to gain the concept. They understand and they are knowledgeable that this is no longer there. But where it has gone to is what they may not quite understand, the dynamics of it. Then by the time they're the age of 9 and 10, they are fully aware of loss. They are fully aware that if it is a person, they're not coming back. If it is perhaps something that they lost, they will either have to replace it or it's just not going to be there anymore. If, for example, they are moving, places, is that they know that we are no longer going to be living there, and you'll be hearing them saying, I miss that, or this reminds me of. So they experience the different kinds of losses, and how they comprehend loss is very different and unique. With the adolescents, they are completely aware. And for them, it's the continuity of life. What happens that now this is not there or this person is not there? Has it affected, my identity? And because children and adolescents are as human as we can be, they also go through their grieving process, and they also have signs that they have started their grieving process. They may be unaware of it, but as guardians, as parents, we can be able to identify when a child or an adolescent is grieving. And it is of great concern when you see these repeated symptoms happening for a series or over a span of more than 6 months. It's something that is telling you that this child, this adolescent, needs some help in the grieving process. We realize that they may go through various emotions. They may have anger. They may have guilt. Should I have done something more? Maybe if I behaved properly, maybe if I did not do this, we would still have this. So they go through a lot of guilt. They go through shame. They also go through sadness. There's also the element of fear, because perhaps with this particular loss, there is uncertainty that is attached to it. So you realize this child, this adolescent, is fear. And with fear sometimes comes anxiety. So these are some of the things that are going through the child and the adolescents. One other thing, among others, that we're going to look at is that they also lose their confidence and self-esteem, especially if their identity was tied to what they lost or who they lost. They also repeatedly are second guessing themselves. So you find that what was obvious, what this child, this adolescent used to do as second nature, they are now losing confidence in it. We also see sleeping patterns are disrupted. This child may have nightmares or dreams concerning what they lost or who they lost. They also may experience, change in eating patterns. One may eat, you may notice an increase in the eating or a decrease in the eating. And so these are just some of the things that you may note with the child. Sometimes there's also regression. They are used to performing or behaving in a particular way, and you find them regressing to a behavior or a pattern that they used to or have overgrown. There's also isolation. They may isolate, themselves. They may want to be with themselves. more than how they would normally do or behave in a normal setup. So these are some of the symptoms of grief that children and adolescents experience. And so, like with the other series, as we seek to understand self and others, if you're a parent or a guardian or an adult who has seen children experience loss, what have you noted? And what do you think has changed from when they had that particular person or that particular thing to now that it is no longer there? Then also ask, has this behavior lasted for more than 6 months consistently?